6:05. We are missing tonight Rich, Larry, and Chris, but we have a quorum, so we will proceed. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, item 4, consideration of the agenda. We had a correction to note. 8A, the mayor's report will be by
The mayor.
Mayor McGuire, not Council President Snow. Anything else? Any other corrections or anything to note from the council? If not, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. All right. Item 5 is consideration of the consent agenda. All items 5A through F will be, they're considered routine by Dune City Council and enacted in one motion. There'll be no separate discussion unless an item is pulled for discussion. Do we have any requests to pull any of these? It's meeting minutes from January 21, meeting minutes from February 4, bills from January 1st to January 31st, receipts from January 1st to January 31st, and profit and loss from January 1st to January 31st, and a reconciliation. Any requests to discuss any specific items? Seeing none, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. That was Melissa Duke for the record. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I think that was unanimous. Thank you. All right, announcements and correspondence.
We do have the meditative mandala workshop that's going to be here at Dune City Hall on Saturday, March 14th from 11 to 1. Also, Lane County put on a flood hazards brochure, and I can put this on the website
Okay.
to make sure that everybody has that. And then also just to note that the Oregon Government Ethics Commission Statement of Interest file period opens March 15th, so everybody will have until April 15th to finish that. And then I guess the only other thing that I wanted to mention was that at the next meeting, which I'm not sure now, about the land use.
Gotcha. Well, we could have a quick discussion. So both of us won't be here for the next meeting, the first meeting in March. So the land use has been advertised, everybody got a postcard. The public hearing at the Planning Commission is this Thursday,
That's
or next
26th.
Thursday,
Mhm.
right, the next Planning Commission. That they will come to City Council the second meeting in March, so we were going to introduce it, the first meeting, just for discussion. So it's already been advertised, it's the same packet that the Planning Commission has. So it's out there for public review and or City Council review. So I've gone through it, you know, if you go through it in advance, I just had a couple of simple comments and I knew I wasn't going to be here, so I gave them the letter already. So we can appoint someone acting and presume everyone else will be here for that meeting and you guys carry on without us, or we could change the date, or just simply have a big meeting, the second meeting in March.
I don't think I'm gonna be here the first meeting either. I have to check with my boss.
Okay,
I'll be there. I don't know if did I previously say I wasn't going to be?
I don't think so.
I was like, I don't.
So we could nominate you to be in charge, and if the rest of these guys show up, you're the boss for the
I think
day.
that's a volunteer basis, and I don't know if I'm ready to volunteer for that.
Because both of us are traveling far, so I'm not gonna try to log in. I don't know what time zone I'll be in that day.
If someone will help me, guide me,
Oh, yeah.
I could try.
Let's see, it's at 6, and it's 9-hour difference, so I can get up at 3 in the morning to go.
Sold.
So what do you think?
Alan, you had that approved, right, with Alan? Put that on your calendar.
Push the meeting.
I mean, I can try, it doesn't bother
Switch the
me.
meeting.
Just, I don't know.
Okay,
I
well-
don't wanna be set up for
And that, the
for the
land use,
council failure on my behalf.
No, and the
Something
land
correct.
use
Discussion
is,
and no discussion.
exactly, it's just a discussion, it's to start that discussion, because the following one is the formal meeting, it's the public hearing. So we will know by then too if we got comments through the planning commission, because they will be brought to you to say, do you want to incorporate, planning commission made a recommendation to incorporate a couple of changes. So, yeah, but you don't have to finalize anything that night. So, yeah, you'll be fine. All right, we'll have the meeting.
4th March.
Yeah, I mean, it's the standard time and day, we just will not be here. All right, yeah, I couldn't avoid that one. I try to, my next vacation, I leave the day after the council meeting, and come back 2 days before the next one, so I wouldn't miss it, but.
I guess the only other thing that I wanted to, we should probably mention is that we have been working with Oregon Water Resources Department. And anybody that has not put in a reservation up to this point, it's not, I'm not saying that we can't do it, but you'd have to be part of another permit amendment, and that would come at an additional cost. I'm not sure what that would be yet.
I thought that was closed already for any new ones.
It is, yes.
All right. Okay, well, none of those are action items. We'll go on to item 7, citizens input. We have a couple of speaker cards. First one was Chris John. You wanted to speak during public comments, right?
Yeah.
All right, take it away.
Okay. My wife and I built our home to retire in. We did the work ourselves. We did it while working full-time jobs. We are not your enemies. We represent over 600 dwellings within Dune City that do not want a hotel next door. When others suggest that owning a short-term hotel is their only way to retire here, I say short-term hotels have wrecked the qualities that fed our decision to retire here, and will do the same to you if and when you get here. We now have 3 of these STRs within 300 feet of our property. For some housekeeping, I've dropped off a list of corrections for the website to Lila. I've also let her know that one of the listings is not accurately depicted for its address on Russell. It's actually 5192, not 5196. Respect and accountability. We all expect it, we all deserve it. The council should receive respect from its citizens and afford the same respect. During my career as an engineer and project manager, I sat through thousands of meetings, high pressure, tense, complex issues being lobbied for and against. I've never seen a meeting where the presenter let a participant verbally attack another participant unchecked for 30 seconds, let alone 7 minutes, like at the last council meeting. I really thought the interaction was shameful. Councilor Snow didn't even start her 3-minute timer, like this was expected, anticipated behavior. When elected, our mayor said, "I look forward to serving the residents." I can tell you, Mayor, we the residents are feeling animus. We feel unheard and we feel disrespect. Respect the voting residents the same degree you respect the special interests at the minimum, and please curb the insults as they pop up. This leads me to accountability. We informed the city over the last several council meetings that it is in breach of its own ordinances. Our STR permit application itself clearly indicates requirements of which the city has continued, ongoing, deliberate indifference and neglect of duty in following. In bold lettering, right at the top of the application, it says that you need a DEQ pure permit and you need a Lux. You don't have any of those that I'm aware of. For any of your STR, well, you do. There's half a dozen of them. There's 17 of them or 18 of them that don't. A property owner must produce the authorization at the time of submitting the permit. This is required by ordinance prior to permit acceptance. An application is incomplete without it and should not have been accepted. The permits have been issued that are in violation or invalid and they're incomplete and should be paused or pulled back. Lane County's correspondent states that the need to resolve this current environmental and public health hazard. I want to state clearly that I have provided notice of the violations and the city is currently in breach of its own ordinances. Today I've submitted 18 valid complaints on permit application violations, 2 for advertising without a permit, and another violation against the Dune City for requiring a commercial property to have a permit. Hopefully you'll apologize and refund them their money. An ordinance is nothing without enforcement. It becomes a suggestion, and it hurts those that do not comply. After the last meeting, it was suggested to me that I just follow the ordinance. Please, I respectfully request our city government do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Geneva Jackson.
I'm concerned about the same issue. I don't have anything written, but the long and short of it is that you asked in your survey if they wanted short-term rentals. The bulk of the people in that survey said they did not. We had a packed room here for the last meeting. Most of the people here had been literally contacted by other people in the short-term rental business or the city to let them know that this was an opportunity to talk about it. It was really pretty stacked. It was a stacked meeting, not a very accurate representation of the people in the city. I don't like the fact that we have to be the policeman for problems when there are problems. I realize that we don't have a lot of problems with these short-term rentals, but when they do, the consequences could be really pretty bad. It sounds like people are going down into neighbors' docks. All we need is an accident, and someone's going to come down, go onto someone's dock, get hurt or worse, and we're going to have a real problem. If the city's going to go ahead and, despite the fact that I've said we don't want them, it's going to, and if they're going to move forward with this, you really need to hire someone who can come at 2 o'clock in the morning when there's some drunken thing going on someplace. It's important. That's it.
Thank you. Jeannie Jackson.
Thank you. I agree with both of the previous speakers, and I just want to reflect on last week's, the last meeting. It was very much a pep rally for short-term rentals. You had literally sent people letters and asked them to come, and then you began the meeting. Mayor, you wanted to do a count, and so did Joe, and yet you began the meeting with asking those of us who had been to meetings before and expressed our views to this is not the time for you to speak, let other people speak. So my sister didn't speak, but you know good and well what her views are. And I didn't say a lot as far as my views. I was upset with how the meeting was being conducted. You gave long, long periods of time for people to express themselves, and you knew what they wanted to say. It was like a political rally. I felt like I was at a rally. And those of us who have faithfully come, and Larry noted the 2 of you are always here. Well, that would be my sister and I. And I love Joe, but I was very disappointed with what Joe did, because you both did a count, and you said, well, the way I see it, I've got only 8 of you against and 22 or for. You told people not to speak if you'd already spoken. You said, we'd appreciate it if you let other people speak. My sister's very courteous. She's a teacher. She did that. She said, I want to hear from all these people who took the time to come tonight. But you don't really want to hear from us. And then as for your own counsel, I profoundly am disappointed with the 3 of you who spoke out against short-term rentals, saying you really don't like them. But now, after an executive session and talking to the mayor, you all changed your mind, including Larry, and that surprised me. So it's funny what a person will do when money's involved. You absolutely are trying to finance your city. You've admitted you have nothing time and again. You have no money. You really don't have a budget to run the city, and don't be having short-term rentals. I thought all this increase in price, because Joe was complaining that it's only $200 in Florence. You charge much more in Dune City for short-term rentals. That was supposed to be to police them and make sure they're good neighbors to us all. So I feel like you care very much from the people who came from away and are here. Some of them said, oh, we come 4 weeks a year. We just love it. We're here every Christmas. We're like, oh, we love to share this beautiful place for people. How about those of us who have lived here all of our lives? The effect it's having on us And Susan, you've spoken a number of times about how expensive it is to live here. Thank you. Because a lot of us in Westlake are struggling. And Duke and Melissa too, you know, a lot of us are seniors. And this has hurt our life immeasurably. It used to be a really great place to live. I wouldn't even call it a nice place now, and I feel so sorry for the people that aren't being heard. And that things were said about Tina Johnson, I thought that's terrible. She cares enough to come and talk, she attends the meetings, and for you to say, only 8 of us? No, you wouldn't allow even a show of hands. When we ask for a vote, you won't permit us to do that. So don't you tell me what the numbers are. You're making up the numbers because you want them. And I'm very sad for those of you who caved, because you made it clear you do not want them. And it's interesting that the people who aren't here tonight were the ones who were pushing short-term rentals, but they didn't even show up tonight. And I think it's a bad time to have any kind of a vote when half of you are missing. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda John.
In a hurry, sounds like the timer already started. At the last council meeting, I enjoyed hearing the range of perspectives shared. Many of the stories were genuinely heartfelt. I think most of us understand the desire to maintain a family home and the need for part-time renters to help offset maintenance costs. I have no objection to that, provided it is done responsibly and with consideration for the full-time residents who live here. However, at that meeting, it was obvious that the short-term owners had been notified in advance, while it seemed the citizens had not. In addition, they were given far more time to speak. To me, that sent a clear message that the residents are not the priority. Despite that, I greatly appreciate the support and concern that was demonstrated by some of the council. I truly believe that you are here for the right reasons and that some of you are looking out for us. The problem isn't the short-term rentals. The problem is a system that allows minor problems, which could have been resolved early through enforcement or responsible management, to go unchecked and snowball into bigger frustrations. Property managers should be held accountable, septic systems should be compliant, required permits should be obtained. The people who drafted the ordinance put some careful thought into these things, so why isn't that followed? Recently, a neighbor messaged me and told me she was having problems with renters driving over the edge of her driveway and damaging it. When she reached out to the property manager for help, she was called a Karen and told to send future communications to his attorney. There are many more stories I've heard like this one. This is not okay, and I hope it's not okay with you as well. I wasn't intending to bring up this story. However, yesterday I received a threatening text from this property manager who was angry about something I did. I asked what he was referring to, no reply. I still don't have a reply. This is not helpful in resolving issues. When I first started coming to these meetings, I was hoping to get help for our neighborhood. Now I'm seeing that the problem is just the tip of the iceberg, and I'm motivated to try and improve things for all of the residents that are being insulted or ignored. Another short-term permit was recently issued in our neighborhood, so now we have 3 rentals, all within a quarter or 1/8 of a mile of our home. When 10% of the total permits is concentrated in one small area, it has a huge impact on the character of the neighborhood. Please consider implementing density restrictions. You are fully aware of the violations and ongoing problems at 5175 Russell Drive, and have even suggested the possibility of making an example of this property. More than a year after submitting their initial rental application, they still do not have the required authorization, permit, or loops, both of which are explicit conditions of the permit application. The state has confirmed that neither permit has been obtained. The rental permit should never have been issued without these requirements in place, and it should not remain active now. How many violations does it take before the ordinance is enforced? Your greatest risk isn't enforcement, it's the documented non-enforcement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Susan. I appreciate your comments. So from a posted meeting perspective, we don't make any decisions on citizens' input because it's not an agendized item. But I can promise that we are disappointed. Oh, so I'm sorry.
That's okay. I didn't sign in, but I'd like to speak.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
What's your name?
My name's Sarah. Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. Go ahead.
I'm really bad at speaking, just let everybody know. Okay, so I am almost 50 years old, and I used to live up Canary, up by Bill Creek. And I lived there up until I was like 35, I want to say. We had neighbors over there that had dogs that would come over and kill our chickens and everything, and we had to live next to them. And they're part density, I'm density, they were on vacation rental, and we had to deal with it up until we found this old place. And it wasn't because of them, we just moved on to a different place. So you're gonna have bad neighbors that are gonna be there forever, just about the whole entire time you live there, or you can have vacation people that are gonna be there for like, what, 3 days, 2 days, maybe a week at the most. And you're only gonna have like 1 or 2 maybe bad neighbors, or bad, people. How many people are you saying that every single person that's staying at the vacation place?
I'm saying we don't have any bad neighbors, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm talking about people that are staying at the vacation place. Like,
But none of us said that.
Yeah, we could give you a rundown.
well, I think you guys are exaggerating a little bit, because it's not as bad as you guys make it sound. I mean, I see it. I'm there every single day at all the houses, checking it out. We're always checking in with the guests and everything. And I live in town now, and like I said, we have neighbors right now that are really horrible, that we have to live, and we've been living by them for the last like 5 years now. And it just seems like, okay, you're gonna get, either a bad one here and there, or you're gonna get one that's gonna be there forever, being your neighbor. Eventually, someone's gonna end up passing away or moving to another spot or something, and there's gonna be a new neighbor in that new house. So you're not gonna have the same neighbors forever. I mean, I'm just saying, there's changes. I mean, that's just the way it is. I don't know if that made sense to you guys, it made sense to me. Did it make sense to you guys? Anybody? I don't know. I mean, and as far as like the lake access thing, we have directions, and I know what property you're talking about, to the lake, going to the wrong dock, whatever, or trying to go to through someone's property to get to the dock. We have directions, and it's the neighbors that have been yelling, or the people at the houses have been yelling at our neighbors, cussing at them, telling in front of their kids. You guys are saying about respect to you guys, well, you guys aren't respecting people that are just families that are being there to enjoy their time, that are doing thing your guys' places, and you guys are cussing at them.
You're making up stories.
I don't
I'm
think
not
you're
making up
listening
stories.
to what
I'm not
we're
making up
saying.
stories
Were
at
you
all.
there?
Huh?
Were you there?
You haven't come to the meetings, you don't know what we're saying.
Are you a property
I've
manager?
been to the last 3 meetings.
Are you a property manager?
I help manage the properties. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have a card or anything?
That card?
Yeah, can we call you?
I had given you guys my number already.
Good.
See how much you really. See. Anyways, that's all I have to say. It's
All right,
just
I appreciate
ridiculous.
it.
Some of these people get-
Did anybody else want to speak? Pam, go ahead.
I just want to clarify something. On the short-term rentals that are required to do the use, change of use, 28 of them have been turned into Lane County. I hand-delivered over half of those because we had problem. Some of them were mailed, they didn't get there. I called them, we got them signed again. I hand-delivered them myself, took my day off, and went to Eugene, took them to Public Works. George has not been getting these done. I have asked him and asked him and asked him. So it's not the homeowners that they dropped the ball. In a way, it's kind of mine because I got busy with training all winter and spring, and I didn't stay on it. But our alternative was we let all these people just hang out there and not be able to do anything last year, or we went ahead and let them have their permits with the condition that if any changes have to be made, they agreed to make them and they did. So Lane County is getting the information.
And Pam, I just wanted to make a statement to that. It wasn't recently that you delivered those. Those were back in 2024.
24, and the first of 25.
Yeah, so
I made 3 trips to Eugene.
we added that requirement to the ordinance because the county told us they had a program. And the first applicant we had, it was done in a week. So we thought, well, this is gonna work great. It's got an increased fee, but the homeowner paid the fee, the property owner paid the fee. And then when we heard this at the meeting, we called, they said, yeah, there's 18 of them, we don't know why they're on hold. They were never scheduled. I think part of the problem is the county presumes it's a homeowner and they're just gonna show up, because they come out to the coast once a week. The inspector generally comes once a week. And because I think they're rentals and the homeowner's not necessarily sitting in the home, they weren't scheduled and they didn't call the city either. They just sat there. So they paid their fee a year ago. And we thought they were all complete. So I want to say I'm as frustrated as you. I'm probably not as frustrated as you, Chris, because it's right across the street. But I get it. These people all they fill out all the forms, they comply with the ordinance, we rely on the county, and we didn't get anything back. So that's still a work in progress.
Yeah, I think the point is that, the whole idea is that septics are verified to handle these loads that.
Okay, every one of these septics was installed and inspected by the county. It's a change in use, they come and they charge them for a second inspection. So they're all working septic systems.
Right.
And I agree, but we're relying on the county that the first time we did it, it took 1 week, so we thought we were in good shape. I'm with Pam, we can't have a government entity where you just go in a black hole and you wait for 1.5 years after paying a fee, so.
No, but if you submit something, you follow up on it quickly, you don't let it ride for 1 year, right?
Well, who's the we?
The city.
The city.
No, it's not a city permit, it's a county permit, and it goes to
Yeah,
the
but
property owner.
you're requiring it on your
Yes.
application to be
I-
done
I
ahead of
appreciate
time.
that.
It's
So,
supposed to be delivered
We
when the
researched them all.
application comes.
They've all been delivered,
And just to let you
and
guys,
some were done and some were not done, so.
because of the problems that happened on Cloud 9, we were told that Dune City had to do this. I sent George a text 2 weeks ago, and he replied back to me saying that we put this in our code, he did not require it, and that is not true.
And we're the
He
only
told
city that
us.
requires this.
That we had to do this.
We're also the only city in the state that requires a routine
Right.
inspection. So, we have some rules that don't fit in with the state and the county, but the county agreed they were doing it, and they only did some of it. And so we're working on it, it's a work in progress.
Thank you.
And on that dock, that's a misnomer. The property has a right to that dock. All the properties that are not lakefront in that neighborhood have a right to that same dock and that same easement. And it's been verified, it's a recorded easement. In 1966, right, the easement was recorded?
66.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Duke and I went and walked it after the meeting and looked and verified who has rights to it. So,
Do you have a copy of that easement here?
yeah.
Do you have a copy of that? Because it
It's
comes
a
up in
recorded,
discussion and
it's
I
a
don't
recorded
think,
document.
Yeah, it's a recorded document.
yeah, it doesn't show up on Lane County's PDF site, so I know that people they're wondering about it now, so it'd be nice to be able to say, here it
Yep,
is.
we did the research, we got a copy of the map, and Lila was able to look up the vesting, so every time a property sells, the vesting's updated, so it has the current property owners that are listed that have a right to it. I think there's 10? I don't know, we went over it
Yeah.
the other day.
Thanks.
So, hey, can I say something really quick?
Sure,
So I've learned way too much about change of use for septic systems. Never thought I would in this world. But there's key triggers. It's not like it has to, and if you read the codes for Lincoln County, STRs aren't even mentioned in their code as a trigger
Right.
for a use. And so it's like if you add a room, you add another
right.
building,
That was
there's all
purely
these
our
things.
request.
Right, and then there's flow, and then you have to get these flow things, you have to prove that the flow rate's higher for the building, so it applies to all of us, right, this code. And I think that's part of where people are getting maybe confused or are kind of interpreting the law. All laws are interpreted how you want them to be, right? I don't deal with politics all the time, but it's, so when I did a bunch of research and wrote a whole thing out, is, it's for one, it's a county thing, and two is, it needs to trigger something to get this use permit. It's not like you have to get a use permit because you're an STR. There's nowhere in any code that says that.
In the city's code.
Yeah.
Well, no, it doesn't, it says that the county has to review it and make sure you're compliant with the codes. But if you read the actual county code, it doesn't say it requires a permit, so, and I live, you guys know where I live.
Yeah, I know.
So there's, again, I think there's a lot of confusion of what citizens know or do, and there's a lot of interpretations of that, but their roles, and it's about flow rates, and one can make an argument STRs would have a lower flow rate based on occupancy than a family of 4, and that's why they have a calculation that you do and fill out, and you can figure out all these flow rates and stuff, but a lot of this just seems like miscommunications of information or passion, which I get, because I do live in the neighborhood, a couple hundred meters from them, but I just want, just facts and the truth and to come out, and it sucks that Lane County kind of dropped the ball on all this, because it was a simple thing they could have said, there's no change by making a few calculations on flow rates, and it would be, you don't have to have a permit for this stuff, so it's just putting stuff on record that is factual, and I'll give you the paper that I wrote on this, because it helped really inform me about stuff that I never thought I'd ever have to ever worry about,
Yeah.
so yeah.
I've researched it too. Can I speak to that?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Because, yeah, I've researched it too, and I've gotten letters from George Ellers and many of the Lake County sanitarians and DEQ, and one of the problems was that they were advertising as a 6-bedroom sleep 16, and this was approved for 3 bedrooms.
Right.
So they need to change of use for authorization, change of
That's one of the
authorization
triggers, so
use.
you're right, I agree, 100%, you're
Well,
right,
yeah,
and
because
that's one
it's
of the
been
triggers.
used, and so it was finally a guy at the DEQ that agreed to send a letter saying, you know, this is an environmental hazard. You know, I sent it to the owners and said, you need to get compliant. So I don't know why Dune City allowed him to even rent as a 6-bedroom when they were only approved for 3.
And that's,
And
Because
Totally
they
agree.
changed
And
it,
I
they
don't-
were approved for 4, and Arlen listed it as a 5.
they're approved for 3. I have the letter from George Ellers. And I have it from Liana, and I have it from Riley Robinson. I have a lot of letters I could share with you. And then when I called on the Lukes for the one for 5175 to the county, they said they just now got the application from the owners for the authorization use permit, and now they're telling that they have to do the Lukes, and she said they do not have one. They're just starting to.
I have
they
one
just
dated
don't-
24,
You said you lost the file when I asked you.
and I said I found it.
No, you didn't.
I said I would
Because
find
I asked
it.
for a copy, and that's why I called the state.
9/24, they did Lux.
Well, the state said that there is no Lux, and the owner isn't aware of the Lux, because they're gonna get one to them now.
It's all been signed and done.
but now, to get back on it, so that is a trigger, right? It's a proven fact, it's a trigger on the bedrooms, and but it's a isolated situation that needs to be resolved, not the whole program. And I guess that's where, I'm neutral, I don't care. You know, obviously, I was up there, because I cared a lot when I was up there, but, you know, it's an isolated situation. If other people are meeting all of this and that aren't required because they are advertising it correctly, X bedrooms, X size tank, X flow rates, then it's working, you know, but this is where, you know, I agree with you guys. If one is doing it wrong and not compliant with county law or city, because the whole city ordinance, an action's gotta be taken, but we're making it, deems a pretty isolated situation, what you guys are having, we're making it a broad-based problem, and that's the hard part.
We've just had 2 new STRs on the street within the last week. None of them have the DEQ or the Lux, and they're approved. They've got a permit. How does that happen?
But if they're X amount of bedrooms,
They don't have
and
permit,
then
they're
nothing
handed
changes, though, that's the thing.
They're listed on the website, on the city website as
One of them
permit.
doesn't have it in his hand yet because he
Oh,
just came
okay,
in.
correct, yeah, I agree with that, yeah, one of them doesn't. But there's,
The website to make it look like he has a permit.
he's not even on the permit. I stand corrected, you are correct. But I guarantee, I can almost guarantee that when he gets his permit, he's not gonna have a DEQ and he's not gonna have a Lux. That's tradition here.
No, it's not.
So I think our ordinance is solid. I think it needs to be addressed and I think it needs to be followed. Thank you.
All right. Item 8A is mayor's report. There's the short legislative sessions going on right now. There's a couple of bills that potentially affect the city. One's on transient room tax restrictions. There's a proposal to relax the restrictions on what it can be spent on. More of it can be spent on general government. It's good news for cities. And then I think that's about it on the legislative front. Permit report is in your packet. Anybody have any questions? There's both permits, renewals, and code enforcement stuff in there. And I think a new one is possible short-term rental without permit. There's 3 of those that were open. They're being investigated.
So application doesn't necessarily mean that it's been granted, correct?
No. It's an application.
Correct.
Permit means that we have gone through the full process.
Means everything has been turned in, everything has been reviewed.
Per county or per Dune City?
Which one are you talking about?
Any of them that's come into. I mean, there is legitimate if we are not following our own ordinance in regards to permits, requirements that needs to be reviewed. You just down with that?
Yeah,
I mean, numbers 2, 3, and 4 down the line are all permits. So if everything's been turned in, they have all the requirements for that permitting process.
I'm not sure I follow. You're talking about the,
Pam,
one
So
is,
83565 Woodland Lane, 83485 Clear Lake Road,
gotcha.
and 5192 Russell Drive. Those all have Ps located next to them, which would indicate a permit. With those permits that have been filed or permitted, they have everything that is
They have
required.
everything turned in, and everything is going where it's supposed to go.
So is it safe to say that all 6 of these have everything required?
2 do not.
Which 2 would those be?
Promenade and Russell. I haven't got all the paperwork to county yet.
Russell and which one?
Promenade.
That's not on there.
That's not on here. And which Russell Drive is it, 5188 or 5192?
5188.
Oh, that's a new application, yeah,
Yeah.
that's not yours.
So then we have a potential another one out there?
this promenade's not on here. Is it a different address? You mean Pluto's Promenade,
Yeah,
so that must be before this.
no.
It's not on here. Because you were working on that before this month.
No, I started working on that here recently.
Okay, it's just didn't get it on here then.
It's a new application?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, any questions on this? Any other comments? Seeing none, we'll go to new business. 9A is maintenance contract. We solicited bids. We had a landscape firm here that was taking care of City Hall and some other areas that went out of business or stopped doing it.
And we had a sweeper.
And a street sweeper contract that
Right.
expired, right, at the end of it.
Yes, and we chose not to renew. So basically, 3 different things are coming to this one place.
Gotcha. So the best bid was Trident, who's doing the ditch clearing already, so Trident is a recommended contract for the rest of it, so we would have one point of contact for our landscape, ditch cleaning, tree limbing, and all that. They've been doing a great job. There's a couple of reference letters in there as well. Any questions or comments on that? This was on Demand Star, right?
This one was not, because it was, I had basically 3 different contracts, and so, but 2 of them Trident had, one was not by Trident. And because it's now one big one for a large amount of money, that's why.
Okay. That's why it's coming to council, because it goes over the $25,000 a year total. Okay.
What's the estimate?
It was 50 total, but that is including, that's the street sweeping, the ditching, the ditch maintenance, and the trimming, so all of it together. Plus the emergency, and then also the parks, park maintenance, so Dune City Hall and all the other city parks.
I'd like to make a recommendation to put this, we can discuss it now, but not to be an action item tonight until we have a floor council.
9A, the contract?
Yeah, Yes.
Okay, you want to continue it to the first meeting in March?
I don't think I'm gonna be here.
Yeah, I know,
Anyone to
that may
read
not
the
be much
next
better.
one.
Yeah. So,
Well, before we do that, this is, the only reason it's at council, Trident already has one contract that was within her allowance, and the street sweeping was the same, and it's combined, and so it's coming to council for approval. And it was the best bid, because you got multiple bids on the one part you bid, right?
Yes, so I bid for park maintenance because that was the new one. We're already in contract with them for the other two things.
Right. So
Yeah.
this is just adding, and it puts it over to 25,000, which is why.
do you feel this is urgent? Why not?
No,
Well, but it's ongoing.
It's
yeah,
ongoing.
It's a monthly, yeah, they'll,
They're working.
we will incur a cost between now and the future. Yeah.
Incur costs of the whole package? I mean, they haven't been.
Well, two of the
awarded.
three, they're already under contract, so
Okay.
it would just be the one, it put it over, so I said, we gotta put it on the agenda for your blessing, but the whole amount is not actually, for award tonight. It's because it went over $25,000 over by the city council when we combine contracts. So it's kind of an oddball, you know, it was
Yeah.
just because the street sweeper guy was coming from Eugene, and we're not gonna extend that, it was expensive.
Right.
it's basically 4-to-1, right? Because I had 4 different contracts and it
Yeah.
went all into one.
And individually, they were smaller, and they each didn't come to council, but
All right.
rolled up they do, so,
Is this a not to exceed contract? Or is it, because I know some of the things that he does counts when you call him. So,
Road maintenance, or emergency services in here as well, as far as by the flat fee, and then we did put that in the budget, so, this is just for the trimming and the maintenance, it doesn't really include the,
so those two, you have a finite amount, yeah. So they just work up to their, dollar amount that's awarded.
but if we don't need
variable
it
is
up to the
emergency.
dollar amount, they don't have to do it.
No, they do it, because it's on a monthly basis, they just divide it up and, spend it over the course of the year. Emergencies would be the only, if we call them for down trees or storm damage, that's the only stuff that we
That's
get like a
extra.
task order, and they'll say, we're gonna go clean this up, it took 4 hours. So everything else is a finite amount, it won't go over.
I asked if it would go less, but not going over.
I don't think it'll go less either.
Because that's,
They're gonna take advantage of that opportunity.
well, there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what I was trying to figure out, is it, because it doesn't say here, not to exceed or not.
No, I didn't have that on there.
The street patching project, is that already done?
That was already.
For the
Money
most
wise,
part.
It's awarded, some of it's done.
Some of it's done?
I don't know if they finished before it started raining again.
Okay.
So they got started when they've got a weather window,
I think they have Jensen, I think they have a couple more things to do.
okay.
Okay, because the wording here on the contract says approximately 25,000. So,
I'm sure I can work it out and we can reword that if necessary.
Which page is that on, Susan?
it's there.
Oh, I got you.
It's at
Page
the end
6.
of all of them,
Yeah.
each section, there's another one that says it.
Yep.
So with approximately, it could be under, it could be over.
A little bit, I suppose. Yeah.
Because I
One
know we
year
did
in
put it in the
there, so-
budget for 25 each.
Yeah, but if we put it in the budget for 25 each, and this is approximately, and we go over, then we'll be over out of budget.
We have contingency money, but we can issue a purchase order that says the total. I mean,
Yeah.
that's all you can bill up to. So if we got 50, it's 50.
This is on page 6.
Yeah,
So again, it's page 6, that's approximately.
gotcha.
I don't like that approximately.
Okay,
That's a too loose of an open-ended term in my opinion.
I would like a not to exceed, just to make sure that it stays within our budget.
so their total would be 50? The two together, 50. So put that in motion.
I move that the contracts read not to exceed 25,000 each or a total of 50,000, because that's what's in our budget.
I'll second that.
And you're motioning to approve then with that notation?
Correct.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I am gonna sustain.
You're saying?
I don't wanna vote on that.
You're abstaining?
Yeah, abstaining.
Okay.
I think that we should wait for the other part of the council.
All right, I'll make note. All right, 9B is a approval of the Montgomery View Estates plat.
I don't have that.
You're the applicant or the surveyor?
County surveyor.
Okay, you want to tell us the story? I think I understand the story, but you don't have a copy of it?
You don't
I'll
want
show
a
you.
copy of it?
Okay, that's okay. Because you already approved it, but.
Yeah, this is
I think you brought copies.
before you before. And you guys signed a plat before. And it was at the county surveyor's office. And the surveyor took off.
Meaning the surveyor that did the original map,
Yeah. And he never finished it.
and they discovered errors, correct?
All sorts of math errors.
Okay,
Nothing conceptual, just
Right.
his math didn't work.
that's my understanding, same number of lots, same exact layout, all the existing easements are
Same
shown,
acreages,
but all the curves
but
were
now
off.
we have right-of-ways that are parallel.
Right. Okay, so new surveyor had to redo the map, and then bring it back to us, and it's gotta be approved, it was technically approved by council, but you have to sign it again, so it's got all the new names on there, for approval, and we're not here to talk about the number of lots or how big the lots are, all that's been planning commission, it's been the city council, this was a surveyor blunder that they didn't catch it,
Yeah,
it was
he
all
just-
approved,
He
yeah,
just took off.
okay. Are they still licensed?
It's my understanding, yep. But when I contacted him when I was a contact, and I found him in Florida.
Do you know if the applicant's gonna lodge a complaint with the State Board of Professional Engineers and Land Surveyors?
It's my understanding, well,
Yes.
Okay, very good.
it's also my
Very good.
understanding.
Dune City will cooperate fully if they need anything, because it's a waste of all of our
Oh,
resources.
absolutely. Yeah, it's my understanding the county surveyor is going to
Okay,
also.
all right, very good.
I'm not.
All right.
I'm just.
Full
here with the
disclosure.
pen.
I work for the State Board of Professional Engineers and Land Surveyors in Nevada,
Oh,
so I'm keenly interested in how it goes
yeah.
from a
Yeah.
professional.
No, it's, yeah, it's,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
not
know what
good
to tell
behavior.
you, but it's crazy.
Okay, so you've corrected all the errors and
Yep.
back in front of us.
Yeah, my math works.
Okay, good answer. So, any questions? It's a really unusual circumstance.
I've never seen it
Me neither.
before.
Right, to get this far, they have to come all the way back.
Right at the 11th hour, and then he just takes off. I don't understand it.
Yeah. So if approved, there'll be a, did you bring full size for, okay, then you'll have a spot to sign, but we're not all here tonight, but anyway.
Yeah, we're not all here tonight, so would you just leave that and come back and pick that up?
I can do that.
You got any questions, Bruce? All right, Susan? All right, you still looking, Melissa?
Possibly the next meeting.
You good? You got any questions, comments? Okay.
Okay, but some.
All right, we need a motion to reapprove.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you. All those in favor? All right, that's unanimous. So those of us here can sign your map and then,
You wanna do it right now or do this?
We can do it after, you wanna do it now or after?
Do it after.
Do it after.
okay,
Doesn't need to be flat and don't smear the ink and
yeah.
remember all those rules from last time.
Okay, and then we have an additional budget committee. Well, do we need a budget committee appointment? Because budget committee's in theory done meeting for this year. But we'll keep Michael in mind for next year.
I say take them.
Well, we got the application.
Let's approve
Sign
it.
them.
That way
Okay.
if we need
You're
something,
You're right,
let's
we'll
get it
approve them, and that
going.
way I get the email.
Yeah.
Okay, well, is that a motion, Melissa?
So moved.
We have
yeah,
Michael
absolutely.
Zink for the budget
I
committee.
second, I appreciate having his
Yeah,
resume
and
on
we have a
there.
resume there, so.
Thank you. Like,
It's not turned down people.
well, it's good to know something about them, so.
Yeah, all right, we have a motion. All those in favor of Michael Zink on the budget committee?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. We'll invite Michael for next year. Yeah, we had our meeting tonight and we got through it with a few comments, so thank you. It's the thought that counts. You get credit for this year too. All right, now, that takes us to 10A, old business, the business license chapter. So we started talking about this now, what, 6 weeks ago?
I have my own one there.
Yes, and the discussion was, what are all the cool kids doing? So there's 3 other cities in here, and frankly, I like theirs even less.
I was gonna say.
Okay, that's just my opinion. I mean, we started out, do we want to rework ours, or see if we can find something better? And I didn't like the other examples, so,
All
I
of
would
them
rather-
have needed a lot of work
Right.
because they're not Dune City.
right, so the format's totally different and everything else, and they have things they license that we don't, so that was my recommendation, is to go back to ours. And then the other question I have, so there's a memo on the cover of this from Igor, and I think Pam agrees. The request was we license everything because it makes it a whole lot easier to keep track of, but there would be industries we would potentially license that we don't provide any service to. So I think we should add, we have a relatively short list of businesses that we license. That's contractors, landscapers, things like that. It's the more high-risk businesses where people come onto your property. And the city's requirement was that you have a business license, and to get the business license, you have to prove you have liability insurance. So that helps protect our residents if something goes wrong and, you know, a tree falls on something or that someone slides off your roof, it doesn't turn into a claim with your homeowner's insurance. So the 2, after talking to staff, that stick out are pressure washing, because there's a lot of pressure washing on roofs and outbuildings, and window washing. We've seen, you know, very tall ladders and man lifts on 2-story homes. Window washing does not require a contractor's license. Handyman is a gray area. We might just want to state that because the state has an allowance for handyman based on the dollar amount that you don't have to get a contractor's license. So I don't want, but they can, like, it gives examples, repair a door, repair a window. I don't want a handyman doing window work on a 2nd floor to fall off and find out they don't have any training and they don't have any insurance. So, you know, that's, pardon me?
Painters?
Painting contractors are required. But handyman, if they touch up paint, they don't. So yeah, I don't like the exemption. They don't need a contractor's license, so they didn't fall on our list automatically. So I think we should mention those that claim they have the exemption from the contractor's license as a handyman and they need a business license. Because in our case, it would require they get liability insurance to protect the residents and the public. So, and then there's some wordsmithing that, if you want to go through it, but I don't know what order you want to go in, like which categories, do you want to add any categories and then talk about the ordinance itself, or the other way around? Susan has lots of notes. You wanna-
Well, I still, if we're gonna go with ours, I still proposed last time to go with purpose and scope that was, didn't read as a definition.
Yeah.
And so I still would like that as a part of the proposal, because the definitions are after.
I got you. Right, the purpose and scope, it just says purpose and scope, and it's all the, it
Right,
goes right into definitions.
and that's what I proposed last time, nice paragraph for purpose and scope.
Okay,
And I would, it covers the same things, but it's not written as definitions.
okay.
My other question is, with definitions, if there's any that are in ordinances that are similar, are we keeping the same definitions?
Yes, we would look at, like, we just made the nuisance, and what was the other one? We made them all consistent, so yeah, we'll use the same word. We're talking about, like, is it the occupant, the owner, the resident? We were consistent in all those.
Right, I'm just concerned that we stay consistent with each ordinance we review.
Yeah, no, I like that. So the big conflict in our current ordinance is, if you look on page 6, 120.15, business license required. It basically says, anybody that does business here is required to get a business license. And then when you get to page 9, the business is affected. 120.75, the actual business is affected, is a very short list. Those performing septic inspection and pumping, landscaping, lawn care, pruning, removal of trees, and
Where's that?
it calls out contractors, anybody that needs a contractor's license in another spot. And then it has a whole bunch of exemptions. So that's what we need to clean up, so it's crystal clear who needs it, who doesn't need it.
So I think before we even do that, I think we need to go back to our definitions because, you know, we're talking about who we're gonna require to have a business license.
Yeah.
Under section 120.10 definition, business means any activity carried out with the intent that a profit will be realized therefrom. So, I think we need to start there.
Puts everybody back.
That puts everybody right back in it.
And when you read those definitions, and it's contractor at the
It's a
bottom,
business.
contractors,
If you're generating funds, it's a business. They need to
Yeah.
have a license.
and then when you get to page
I don't care about the liability.
9, it's got only those that are affected. And so, yeah, well, the first part covers everybody, and then you get to page 9, and it's just a very limited slice of those that are affected. So, yeah, that needs some cleanup. And then one of our councilmen who couldn't be here tonight, Rich, he had a question because Rich has a business, and a lot of Rich's business is regulated by the state or the county already. And he wanted to know if we propose to require a business license for the things he already has a business license for. Like alcohol and tobacco is through the state. And I said, that wasn't the intent. I mean, because we don't provide like restaurant inspections, and the health department and the septic, you know, it goes through the county. So I didn't think we should double cover, if you will, because we're not providing an inspection or a test or anything that goes with it, where they do. You know, those are a special use that comes with a license, and that comes with either an inspection or something else. Yeah. But it goes back to that definition, you know, anything that is a
I was
business.
gonna say, but it
Then
meets
you
the
gotta say,
definition.
except not those that are covered by the state or the county already or something, because
Commercial business licenses.
it gets messy.
Exempt commercial business license. Question.
No, because I don't think that's actually like a term that the county uses. So there's not a category like I mean, they all talk about home-based, home occupancy permits, things like that. And we have it in the definition, but we specifically say they're an exemption. We don't have business license requirement for home occupancy permit. So that's one possibility, is it, you know, do you need a hang and paper license or have be on file if you have a home occupancy permit?
So along with what Rich was stating about septic and everything, would that affect all of our RV parks then?
RV parks are, right now, do they have a business license? They are regulated by the state and we get a share of room tax back.
We
So
have
they're
two, and
identified
one
on our
has a
big map
business
as commercial.
license.
I'm just wondering if,
What was that?
Say again?
We have a couple of them, and one of them has a business license.
yeah, I'm just saying if Rich doesn't have to because of septic and he's concerned about his RV parking, we have other RV parks,
Right.
would they fall under the same thing then?
I presume they're
Because we
all
have to treat them all
treated
the
the same, right. They're all,
Commercial septic systems are inspected annually.
they're, yeah, so their septic's respected and they're transient lodging, so they're on a list with the state and they pay their room tax and that comes back to us, so they don't have a separate business license. And frankly, all the commercial property in Dune City, correct me if I'm wrong, Rapunzel, was commercial when the city was incorporated. Those were all existing, not zone changes by Dune City, those were all the original.
Correct.
So they were all already licensed, you know, they were Lane County businesses and
Makes sense to
they
me.
come in when they're annexed to the most similar zoning, you know, when
As
you
long as
create
the
a
large
city.
ones and small ones are treated the same.
Yeah, right now they're all treated the same, and that was kind of Rich's question, was it, are you piling on top of all the things he already does with the county and the state, yeah. So, we probably need to combine the part that says everybody that's covered and the part that's everybody that's exempt. Or put the exemptions first, like here's the people that do and here's the people that don't, and then get into what that means. Because right now it's confusing when you read it, it's like everybody needs a business license. And then you flip the page and it says only really these three
It's at the
categories.
very end.
Yeah.
That lists all these exemptions which aren't really clear.
No.
You know, forgive me if I'm not fully understanding this, but I think anytime that you're running a business and you're generating a fund, this needs to be a business license issue. I understand if you're paying a license to the state for this permit or that permit, but if you are running a business, our business license needs to be applied. The requirement needs to be applied.
But most of what we're talking about are people who come here to do business. They don't run a business in Dune City, they're coming from Eugene or Florence. Like contractors, window
Are
washers.
they doing a business in this?
Well, they're working in the city, but they
Then
don't.
that's- They're still
I mean, the
generating.
distinction is they don't have a business, as in like they don't have an
They're
address.
utilizing their business in this town.
Yes, they're doing business in town, right.
So what is the difference? They're still generating. a
Well,
fund.
one is they're licensed where that office is. Like they all come here and they go, no, I have a license, I'm in Eugene, and I have a business license in Eugene, because that's where their home office is, their mailing address. But I get it, I mean, that's the distinction we gotta make, because they come here to sell their services, mostly these are services, right? They're like, parking lot ceiling guys doing driveways, and people cleaning roofs, and, you know,
So not too long
some of the
ago,
contractors.
we were telling people, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, Lynn, if they were coming in and doing any of those tree trimmings, and they had to have the permit and a license to go with it. Are we no longer going to be doing that?
yes, they are, and they're already listed, so the tree limbing and landscaping.
I mean,
Those aren't a question. It's what we add, because it's a very short list.
I think there's just things that are not being picked up as businesses that need to be picked up as businesses.
Contractors from Eugene,
Contractors are,
from Eugene.
from anywhere. Anybody licensed by the state, because the state licenses them, not Eugene. So contractors from anywhere, if it requires a contractor's license, you gotta get a business license. So I think the history was, it was the high-risk businesses, where somebody came, said, I could fix that, I left something broken, or whatever it was. But that's,
So then-
I don't have a great history.
Apply this to short-term rentals. If
That's a special use permit, that's not a business license, that's a different.
but they're generating funds.
Yeah, and we're generating funds too, they're already paying. They it's not a business license, it's a use permit for residents. Because they pay $1,000 a year for that permit, this is what, $100?
125.
$125 for a business license, so it's a different animal. And a couple of the example ordinances, they just had their business license for anything, including short-term rentals. You know, they went to like $150 or something, and then pay the state the room tax and get a piece of the tax on it if you're lucky.
Okay, thank you.
If you don't share a zip code with a neighboring city.
Well, I mean, maybe it's just a different, laying it out clear as day and
Yeah, it's a messy.
layman's terms for everybody to understand instead of terms that we know that not everybody understands.
Yeah, and that comes up every couple of years, because the question
And
comes up,
we've got to
and it's a
use
messy
the
ordinance.
terms that people are going to understand, so we have to stop every 2 years redoing this.
Well, we didn't redo it last time.
No, but I'm saying going forward, we need to be using those terms so
Yeah.
people understand.
Yeah. So, that's where we're at tonight, we're taking suggestions. I mean, we don't have to decide it tonight, but
We need to clean it up,
yes, it is,
make it understandable what.
it is awkward, yeah. And I think it was like most ordinances, we got it from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it covered every kind of business, including lots of kinds of businesses we don't have here. At least, their business address is not in the city. But we do have a lot of transient businesses that come here to provide goods and services. And that's what we have to decide. Do they need to get a license when they're here delivering their goods or services? Some of them are reflected in the land use code as well, and we have a lot of pages in the land use code about businesses that don't exist here, about how many parking stalls for doctors' offices, and, on the off chance you get one.
Clean up the definitions.
Yeah,
Line by line, page by page.
yeah. So, we can go line by line if you have suggestions, or we could make all our suggestions back to live, because that's where we started, and we decided to go look, let's see if there's something better. So we can all send all of our comments, and then we'll get a combined document for review, if that's easier.
I would say that because I have been in where I haven't attended one meeting and attended the next one, and you feel like you're left out, and I would, the fellow councils that are not here, I would.
Oh, yeah,
want
no, we're
them
not
in
going
that
to decide it
same way.
tonight,
But it would be, in my opinion, no, to start going line by line and then
Okay.
having to
We'll go
rewind
halfway.
to go back there.
no, that's a good point.
Put your concerns together and then send them off to line.
Okay, we can do that.
I like that.
All right. So you have a paper copy in front of you, you can scribble on it in red or however you want to do it. And,
I think that's a good way to go.
okay, we'll collect those, and once she's got them all, they'll be on the future agenda.
Okay.
So we're only looking at the 10 pages, correct?
Yes, and then the rest of that were the examples. So if you see stuff in there, you like definitions or whatever, cut them out or tape it on or whatever. You've got Depot Bay and
I
Lakeside.
don't even want to because
Okay.
then you start getting too much terms in.
I'm just gonna write
Well,
it
the
down.
one in the
The
back,
definitions are different.
Yes.
Yeah, but a lot of times they're dealing much bigger areas and we are very
Right.
small. We ran into that problem.
Lakeside's small, but it also has a gas station, a bar.
They're
grocery
general,
store.
they've got,
Right, they got a whole bunch of stuff we don't
Yeah,
have,
yeah.
and they spend a lot of time on the businesses. And the last one is Lane Council of Government, and they're consistent with the terms because they've done this for all the different sections, so it's a good example, but it's completely different format.
Completely different. I read through that one, I thought, oh, this will be a good example, and it wasn't.
It's,
is there something that the audience is wanting to get into it? I hear a lot of challenges.
Good
I want to make
question.
sure that they're being heard as much as everybody
All right.
else.
Okay, well, any more discussion from the council? All right. Has anybody in the audience got specific business licensing comments?
Well,
What was the decision? Why is it like no STRs count? Because like Florence, they do. That's when you have to get a business license.
Because it's a special use permit. It's its own permit process for a short-term rental, and it's frankly about 9 times more expensive than the business licenses.
Right.
So it's got its own program with its own terms.
So it makes it exempt if you like do business.
Well, it's not exempt, it's just different. It's got its own process.
Yeah.
Like you don't get a contractor's license from the city, but a licensed contractor has to get a business license from the
Correct.
city. So,
Right.
because it's a category license, so, yeah, it's just, because it's a freestanding ordinance that covers short-term rentals. So any other questions or comments? This will be on a future agenda for more discussion one of these days. Seeing none, I will go to 10B. So 10B was the resolution that was submitted 6 weeks ago, and then it was revamped because the way it was proposed would have violated the state statute. So it was revised, put on the agenda, and then continued, and so it's in your
Last page.
business license and stuff is in there, where I've heard. Trying to keep my packet in order. Okay. So it'll be resolution 1 of 2026. After the last meeting, I think this idea of changing the number to 0 by resolution was dead. I also don't recommend it because it needs to go with any needed ordinance revisions. Otherwise, it's just a number and it's not binding without ordinance changes. So it was premature, I believe. It was submitted as a way maybe to bring attention to it, but it was probably not in the right order.
Right.
So, given that, is there any discussion?
So that we're all on the same page, this is the resolution to take our short-term rentals to 0.
Yeah, that was Larry's.
Just want to make sure that we're
Suggestion, yes.
all out there and,
So right now, the ordinance says the number shall be established by resolution, because the first time we went through the ordinance, we weren't sure. And we set it at 35, and we never got to 35. We're at 33 right now, I think, 33 working on permits. A couple of those are applications, they're not permitted yet, but, so it appears we picked about the right number for the market. It's not universally popular, but,
42 May.
but I don't think we can simply say 0 either. And our attorney, talking to the attorney, it was, you can pick any number you want, but you're gonna have to revamp your ordinance to be in a position to regulate that. So I don't wanna pretend like we can just say 0 and everybody's gonna roll up the carpet and eat down.
I'd like to review the ordinance.
Yes, I think that's the next step, is to talk about distance separation and some other changes. We got some great comments, so I like that idea. I don't think this fixes anything,
No, I don't think so.
but that would be next step, is to go back to our ordinance and review those terms, talk about changes.
Yeah.
Okay? So, this is for action, so I would motion to deny this resolution. Anybody want to second that?
I'll second it,
Thank you.
because I think we need to go to the ordinance and look at that, not just
We do.
go to an exact
Oh, it
number.
doesn't make any sense. Well, and we got some legal advice. They said the ordinance is Dune City law. A resolution is an opinion. And so it has to go hand in hand with revisions to the ordinance, or it doesn't do anything.
But with that being said, when we had that discussion, he said that we could potentially.
Oh, yeah. Yes, but not just in one fell swoop and think it's just gonna take
No,
effect.
correct, and
All right, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor of not passing this resolution?
I,
All right, that's unanimous. All right, 10C was a discussion on a city-initiated ballot question on short-term rentals. And this is similar to a resolution. Regardless of the vote, you would still need a city ordinance that carries out what you want to do to make it enforceable. And so there was some discussion and some questions, and I did a little research. So there have been some short-term rental ordinances that were overturned. There have been some changes, like the Dalles went to 1% of their housing stock, though the Dalles is a lot bigger than us, but they went to 1% was their limits. Portland has an ordinance that, according to Portland, they weren't enforcing, so they didn't know what that percentage was. So the numbers are all over the place in the state. Lincoln County has a similar example. They did a ballot initiative, but it was Lincoln City, unincorporated Lincoln City. So it was the outlying areas in Lincoln City that were in the county. They voted to ban,
versus residential.
well, they voted to ban them in the county portion, so they were only in the city portion. That was overturned. So that was struck down. There's been a number of ordinances that were partially struck down. Part of it hinges on land use. So, because Lincoln County required a zone change, there's been a lot of talk about it. Shouldn't it be commercial, or do you get a zone change? Well, once you get a zone change, it becomes a land use right. You got a zone change. Those are where they were overturned, and then they couldn't take them away. So we don't do zone changes, which gives us some flexibility. The other is, if there's a ballot initiative, whether it's proposed by the public or proposed by the city, if it's within the city limits, if there's a legal challenge, if it passed or failed, if there's a legal challenge, it's up to the city to pay to defend it, even if it's not our ballot initiative. So we want to tread cautiously, just because any defense, any legal defense is expensive, whether you're on the winning team or the losing team, it's expensive. And the biggest, probably the biggest issue for me is a ballot initiative can't be retroactive. So you can ban short-term rentals going forward, but the existing permits are already existing permits. So you can't vote something out of business that already exists lawfully. You can vote changes or additions to it, is my understanding, in the future. So you basically end up with whatever the number is, 33 at the time of the vote, or 35, or whatever the ordinance says. And then the ordinance right now talks about they are transferable, sort of, right? If you are selling and you fill out the form, it goes to the next person. So, so from a city initiated, and Larry's not here. Larry he wanted some action. He's like, I think we should do it. And I was like, I don't think we're ready to do it. I think we need to talk about it, because once you decide to do it, if the council decides to do it, if it's city initiated, then we can't talk about it anymore, other than from like the budget perspective. If we do away with short-term rentals, how do we pay for code enforcement? So we would still have a budget challenge we can discuss, but until you vote on it, you can talk about it how you want. You can take public comment for 3 months, it doesn't matter. But my biggest concern is it can't be retroactive, so it doesn't solve the issue at hand. If you have a problem with one that exists and they have a permit, you can't vote them out of business with a ballot initiative. So it would affect those properties that aren't short-term rentals, in my opinion. And that may get tested by the court one day. So that's my 10-cent speech. And Leonard wanted to talk about it, and he's not able to join us tonight. So, as far as an action item, this was a discussion item. It wasn't on your question.
Yeah, I think we can continuing.
Okay.
So I do have one question,
Yeah.
you know, because it is a discussion with those two that are currently in application process, correct?
Yeah,
We could hold those?
no,
Not at all.
if they meet the ordinance, they meet the ordinance. If we approved an ordinance, that's all administrative at this point. Well, in my opinion, I mean, that's kind of a legal question, because it's an existing ordinance to be carried out by staff. So they don't come to council for review and approval, so my gut says no. We need, the way it's structured, it's none of our business. The ordinance is, you know, we created it, we want to modify it, that's a future action.
Maybe null and void at this point in time. Do we have a check mark or a checklist that they have, you guys are required to check off every single thing on what is required to have these put into play? And we have that documented on every one?
Oh, any other comments, Duke?
No, personally, I don't want the city to initiate a ballot measure myself. I don't think we're gonna gain anything by it.
I appreciate that. And again, it's kind of a, you know, cart in front of the horse. I'm with Susan. I think we need to reintroduce the short-term rental ordinance.
Yeah.
And then talk about all the comments we heard and look at the sections and make, you know, propose revisions and take public comment and adjust some of the terms.
Yeah.
And then see if that fixes those, you know, those problems. So we can continue this, but I think really the next action would be we have a business license ordinance to put comments in and then introduce the short-term rental. And the land use is time specific. You're gonna see that in March, no matter what. So this won't all happen overnight. We have to, because it's, the postcard went out, that's required by state law. It's then that postcard with terrible verbiage that says your land use may be affected. There is no land use being affected, but because it's a land use ordinance, everybody that owns a piece of property gets a notice, because there are no new land uses or revisions or deletions proposed. But anyway, that has a date specific on it, second meeting in March. So we've got a number of things we've got to get through. Yeah, go ahead.
May I ask a question?
Sure. Is that the question, or you got a better question?
Hypothetical,
Yeah, go ahead.
what if you were to get, there's no limit on the amount of applicants you can take now for a short-term rental?
No, we're capped at 35 permits maximum in the city. We have about, I think, the demographer's estimate is 891 homes in Dune City, and we capped it at
5%.
yeah, less than 5. Yeah, we would be less than 5%. We're at 35 is the number that's approved today, and we're at 33, I believe, that we have either permits or applications for. A couple that are unpermitted but are in the pipeline. So we've never got to the 35, but yeah, 35 is the max as it's structured today. Any other questions?
I like long-term rentals.
Yeah, and long-term rentals are,
Sorry.
no, I appreciate that, and they're not regulated, that's covered by state, so anything greater than 30 days, we don't issue a permit, we don't ask a question, and it gets to the content or the comment about your neighbor. Sometimes I wish mine were short-term rentals because they'd leave next weekend, but the rest, I enjoy having them that are long-term, so.
Yeah, I've had quite a few.
Yeah, so yeah, long-term, I mean, when we talk about ownership, we've had comments like, you know, no corporate ownership or no, but frankly, most homes are owned by a bank. So you can't say no corporate ownership, right? There's so many that have a mortgage, and they're not owned by the person in the house, or, you know, in many cases you're a renter. So you're either a renter or you're making a payment, somebody else owns it, and And so we stay out of that business. I mean, that's regulated by the, federal government. There's Fair Housing Act standards. We can't discriminate, once it's long-term. So we can't regulate short-term. So we did, for better or for worse. Prior to this ordinance, it was unregulated. It existed. I mean, some of these folks, when we asked, how long have you had a short-term rental, they're like, since 1972.
Yeah.
It's not a brand new phenomenon.
No.
It's just permitted recently and regulated, if you will. I'll use that term loosely because I know some of you don't agree it's fully regulated yet, but I can appreciate that. It's hard to get your arms around it. So we will continue.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to continue on Alyssa's line of thinking. If our application says that the completed DEQ change needs to be submitted at the time the permit is submitted, then I would say that you have an opportunity to deny those permits that are on the table right now.
They also can be up to 35.
We can take a look at that. Yeah, and there may have been what we intended to do and the way it's worked out because we're relying on another government entity. So, and we did verify. I mean, when we thought we had this brilliant idea, and they said, yeah, we do that. And we're like, do they really do it though? So we called, they said, yes, we do. And the first applicant.
And the first rule is due diligence.
Yeah, and the first applicant said, well, how long is this gonna take? I said, I don't know. And then he said, well, I submitted my application to the county, and they said, the guy will be here next Wednesday. I was like, well, that was painless, other than he had to pay, is it $1,200, but it was painless. And so we thought, well, this works great. It'll be so fast, it won't even matter. Well, it turns out that the next 18 of them are still sitting there, so didn't work out the way we thought.
I completely appreciate that we do it the way we do. It's just, there's step A, there's step B, and there's step C.
You're right, especially, when you find out that there's somebody not taking a step here.
Okay.
So I appreciate that. So we'll continue 10C for more discussion with the rest of the council. We have no need for an executive session. Let's go down to good of the order. Duke, what do you got? You got any good news down there?
Well, I had plans to say more, but I needed to talk to code enforcement officer before I get him involved in what I have to say.
All right, and you went on vacation.
That's why I didn't talk to him.
Don't tell anybody.
I know,
This community's running amok.
I know.
He'll
Well,
be
with
back
that
any
being
minute.
said, how are we handling complaints and issues? Who's going out and doing this? I'd like to know.
Myself and Pam.
Yeah.
Like people that did it beforehand.
City staff,
Just want to make sure we got something. Apologize for that.
long arm of the law.
Like to know.
Yeah, there's always somebody, pretty much. Anything else, Melissa?
No, I'm gonna reserve my comments on a few different things.
Okay, Susan?
I'm gonna not comment tonight. I have a few things that I want to look into though.
Okay, thank you. IT director,
No.
anybody online?
Nope, we had one. They dropped off pretty quickly.
Oh, dear.
I just got a text from Councilor Clemens, and so I asked if he had any comments. And he said no.
All right, thanks for doing that.
No
I
problem.
appreciate it. All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Anybody want to second that? Thank you. All those in favor of adjourning? All right, we've adjourned at 7:33.